This video is sponsored by the Frame-a-Majig's Kickstarter. It's another wild day in the world of Magic the Gathering, as Wizards of the Coast has just revealed a bunch of Lord of the Rings spoilers that are insanely overpowered. And this is going to be a huge problem for the game going forward. On top of that, we're also going to talk about the ridiculous One Ring situation.
Magic. History.
I'm an old wizard!
The Magic Historian.
My bones hurt. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for another fat installment of Mega Magic News. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you because tomorrow it's going to mark 6 years of me being on YouTube and 4 years of me being a full-time entertainer with this as my job. So thanks to all of you for making this possible. I am having the time of my life. It's resulting in a lot of fun, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. So let's start out by diving in with the insane spoilers. We're going to start out on the lower end of the power scale, which is still strong, and end on the insane side of the spectrum and talk about what a problem that is. And then we'll talk about the craziness with the actual One Ring, which will blow your mind if you haven't already seen this picture. But anyhow, starting out with the spoilers, we're going to look at one that is a lot of fun in the form of Isildur's Fateful Strike. This is a legendary instant. You don't have a lot of legendary instants and sorceries in Magic, so it's unique in that way to begin with. But this is pushing the power level scale, going, hey, it's a legendary. You can only cast it if you control a legendary creature or planeswalker. So it does restrict the power level to a degree, but remember that they target Commander a lot as a format. So having a legendary out isn't that difficult. So you can almost ignore that half of the time. So for 4 mana, you destroy target creature. If its controller has more than 4 cards in hand, they exile cards from their hand equal to the difference. This is nuts. Like, this is actually, before we even talk about that, I do want to take a moment to appreciate the fantastic flavor on this card, right? The idea is, yo, check it out. Sauron's got the One Ring. You look at the flavor text, it says, Isildur cut the ring from Sauron's hand with the hilt shard of his father's sword, and Sauron himself was overthrown as he lost possession of the One Ring. And you can see that in the artwork as his hand is just getting hacked, his fingers are flying off, and the energy is just coursing through his arm in this massive epic moment. But bro, he's losing his hand, and the card makes your opponent lose part of their hand, right? You lost part of your hand. It's an awesome parallel, but the power level is nuts. Think about this in Commander, right? There's tons of people playing Reliquary Tower. I'm about to cut the tip off your Reliquary Tower, son. You know, and it's exile the cards too. There's multiple levels to this. The fact that it hits so many cards theoretically and then exiles them from the game is insanely powerful to me, and this is the road that we're walking down. Let's take a look at another powerful rare in the File of Galadriel. This is another cool one. Every card we're going to look at is cool from a flavor perspective. This one especially because it's literally a vial of elven star water. It's water that has captured the essence of a star, and magic can actually be drawn forth from it in a number of different ways. It calms the basic lure that the ring has upon you while it pulls and tempts your mind. The elven water, the star water, can help save you from that. It can also mess up gigantic spiders that, it's such a cool concept. I love all this fantasy flavor. So 3 casting cost, legendary artifact. This says if you would draw a card while you have no cards in hand, draw 2 cards instead. That to me is enough of an ability to be a card all by itself. Just, hey, if you're going to draw when you have nothing in your hand, draw 2 instead. This can be abused in a whole bunch of different ways. But they said, hey, you know what? Why don't we make it crazier? If you gain life while you have 5 or less life, you gain twice that much life instead. So you can make a big comeback. And actually, I do have to say, I really like life doubling effects. And I do like this comeback from behind concept, like as a design idea where, hey, are you basically you're under the thumb here, there's not much you can do, you're wriggling to get underneath, you get a bigger bonus. It gives the same kind of idea as the hobbits, right? Because they're facing off against something so much bigger than they are. So that flavor is really cool. And life gain can be pretty weak in Magic. So finding ways to make it crazier, and I mean, obviously, if you're paying life and using this to gain life afterwards, doubling, there's a lot of nuttiness you can do. This is an engine for a bunch of different combo craziness. And then they said, no, you know what? Here's the thing. How are we going to make sure commander players play it? It's like, I don't know, make it a 3-mana rock. Brilliant. What color should it tap for? Oh, all of them? And it's like, oh, ching, ching, ching. I hear the money raining from the ceiling, boys. And this is going to tie even more into the next card, right? So let's move on to the next card before I drive my point home. Flowering of the White Tree. This is the poster card for the insanity that we are going to talk about. The File of Galadriel requires at least a little bit of hoop jumping, but the Flowering of the White Tree is nothing but pure balls to the wall power. 2 white for a legendary enchantment. Legendary creatures you control get +2/+1 and have Ward 1. I hear Isamaru howling in the distance, friends. So, non-legendary creatures you control get +1/+1. This is absolutely bonkers insanity. All right, in a lot of Magic's history, you'd be lucky to get +1/+1 to all your guys for 3 mana. This is bare minimum +1/+1 to all your guys. And for 2 mana, you're giving all your legendaries +2/+1 and Ward. When I read this card the first time, I forgot that it had Ward 1. I was talking to somebody else, they mentioned the Ward 1, and my head started shaking. It's like, this is too powerful, friends. This is where we get too far with the card design. The problem with a card like this is everybody can see how screamingly powerful it is, right? You go and look, there's people brand new to the game going, this is insane. Like, its power level is unparalleled, right? And so what does this become? It becomes an auto include in every white commander deck that runs creatures. Why wouldn't you? It gives you a +2/+1 bonus to your commander and a +1/+1 to every other donk in your deck who's not legendary, and every legendary gets a fat boost. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and it speaks to what Magic has become, which is design cards for commander. But this is too much. This is too on the nose. This is Arcane Signet level, where you make something that is so incredibly strong that it's, okay, why would I not play this? So it's an auto-include virtually. Yes, there's going to be some decks where it doesn't fit in, but this is the way that Magic is going with every set. Everything is geared towards trying to hit multiple different formats, but Commander underlying it all is the biggest problem. Cards like this basically turn tons and tons of other Magic cards into blanks. And you might go, dude, what's the problem? So they invalidated some earlier cards. Well, we're on a turbo ship to the moon, friends, because the only thing you can do from here is keep cranking the power up. How do you replace Flowering of the White Tree as an auto-include in people's decks? Once Wizards have made so many auto-includes that every commander deck is a paint by numbers, you're only actually picking 4 different cards to put in the deck because everything else is so automatically powerful and geared towards commander. You'd be insane you're just nerfing yourself to have variety. That's the area we're moving into. We are in the land of uber power creep. And before, power creep was kept in check by different formats. But now it's about trying to court Commander. And Commander is an insane format that stretches back to the earliest days of Magic. So cards have to come in big and splash hard. And that's a big problem. This speaks to what's going on over at Wizards of the Coast and their very short-sighted basic get the money now, forget about the future mentality. So, speaking of that, I want to talk about the One Ring now, friends. I'm going to put an image up for you on the screen here. This is the One Ring. This was shown by Wizards of the Coast. You can see in the artwork, this is the one of one, the special serialized One Ring. There's only one of these in existence. And guess what? It's curled right there. You can already see it curling. They said it's printed in the normal standard way, and it sure is. And the glove they're holding it in, I look at the thumb and the glove looks dirty. The company doesn't even care. And this is probably the high watermark in terms of this is the most valuable Magic card that will probably ever be printed from the standpoint of new stuff, serialized stuff, not from the standpoint of like the old Lotuses. Everything from the earliest era has genuine scarcity, but Wizards is in this crazy, hyper, let's go mega serialized mentality. And it is another way that we are going straight down into the middle of the earth towards the lava that's down there. And we're going to start cooking with Magic the Gathering, because what they're doing, it makes zero sense aside from a perspective of we need to grab the money now and get it on out of here. There's no situation that explains this in any other capacity. So we're watching them basically burn the game down and go, okay, how do we get as much money as possible? We'll make a 1-of-1 for the Lord of the Rings. We'll have everybody chase it, but they didn't make like a special coupon you could redeem for it. They didn't make sure it's going to come out of the package unjanked up or anything. They're showing it off on the stream and it's lower quality, like they just don't care. And it's interesting to note that genuinely I do feel like we are going to be going downwards from here. I'm going to do a live stream talking about the One Ring and how Magic really can't top it going forwards. There is literally no 1-of-1 Magic card that can be created that will top the One Ring. And there's an offer that came out today for it for $250,000, which when you see an offer for it, you know it's actually worth much higher. So this could be worth anywhere from $500,000 upwards. And Wizards of the Coast just printed it out of thin air, and they don't care to print it to a reasonable level of quality. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're living in insano times where we have massive, insane power creep. Wizards talks about extending standard to 3 years so they can sell us product longer. It's not about creating a better, more healthy format. They say they're going to ban less frequently, but there's no talk about changing the actual design philosophy that leads to all these problems. So as sad as it is, I just see things getting progressively worse for Magic the Gathering. Now, my friends, right here, I actually have, this is a hand-painted, done by Bud Cook of me, right? This is me, almost like a zombified version. I did a video a couple of years back talking about one of his cards. He loved it, did this, sent it out to me, and I finally have this amazing way to hold it from the sponsor of this video, Frame-a-Majig. So, let's talk about that now. My friends, a new dawn of cardboard classiness is upon us. I present to you the Frame-a-Majig, the absolute best way to present a Magic card. Forget the old days of fiddling with nonsense screw cases. You don't need that in your life. This right here is next level. We've got a solid wood frame that when you hang it on the wall adds an entire new dimension to displaying your Magic cards. On top of that, this has UV protection built in, so it'll stop the sun from cooking the art off of your cards. And if that wasn't enough, it's insanely easy to change the inner compartment. This is an absolutely amazing product. As soon as I got this first one in the mail from Thingamajigs, I sent them an email saying, can I have 10 more, please? And they said, no, we only have prototypes. You'll have to wait. But I don't want to wait, and neither should you. Imagine your life with something this amazing in it. What's that? Yes, this is a Black Lotus. What's that? Yes, I will have a baby with you. These frames really are the next level way to display your Magic cards. I'm a huge fan of them, so make sure you go to frameamajigs.com and get yourself some. They look amazing. Check this out. This is an art gallery where a ton of different cards are being displayed. You cannot deny that this looks impressive. Big thank you to Frame-a-Majigs for sponsoring this video. Make sure you get yourself some frames. To do anything else would be downright criminal. I was framed. Do I look like a criminal to you? Man, tell it to the judge, you criminal dingus. Oh, but I am the judge, and I judge these to be classy. You heard the judge. Go support the Frame-a-Majigs Kickstarter right now. You heard the judge. Go support the Frame-a-Majigs. You heard the judge. Go support the Frame-a-Majigs.